I have officially tested 20 of the highest rated tubing mascaras with wear tests so that you don't have to. And I'm going to rank every single one from the very worst to the very best. Number 20 in very last place goes to the Blinc Lash Extensions Tubing Mascara. This has a pretty standard tapered wand with bristles that essentially disappear the further away you get from the handle. That's something that always really annoys me because I still want bristles towards my inner corner, but maybe that's just me. And the wand itself is really flexible. I almost just got mascara everywhere. And I honestly think that this wand is just way too flimsy to give good results. Like, you need at least a little more stiffness than this. But again, maybe that's just me. And not only is the wand an issue for me, but the formula is as well. It's thin and very dry, which I find makes it very difficult to build. The wand actually almost gets like stuck as I'm trying to layer it. So I wasn't surprised when I finished applying this that I don't like the way this looks on my lashes whatsoever. While the volume is average and the separation is actually good in some areas, the length is so bad. And it had potential to be pretty because when you look at the volume, it's like this fluffy, fluttery volume instead of really thick lashes. But it just makes my lashes look way too short, and especially on the left eye. As strange as that is, every time I tested this out, I had the same issue. My left eye looked super short. Well, not my eye, the lashes on my left eye. You know what I'm saying. And when I was compiling the footage for this video, I realized that I had accidentally deleted the official wear test footage that I had, where I'm looking forward and then up so that it looks the exact same as every other mascara. But I did find another clip from the end of the day that I wore this mascara. I was putting on a lip product for another video, and you can see here, you can see why I refused to put this mascara on ever again. I don't care what you say. You just cannot make me, because where did it go? That is the biggest reason why I felt like I had no choice but to give this last place, because it literally disappeared from my lashes by the end of the day. It was easy to remove and the mascara fully came off in tubes, but that's because there was like nothing left to remove, so that doesn't surprise me. Number 19 is the Velour Pretty Big Deal Peptide and Tubing Mascara. The wand is slightly curved with really soft nylon bristles, but it's a huge problem because of how much product gets stuck to it. Like, you can just see it gunked up on there. So because of that, I thought the formula would be really wet, but it's actually not. It's a drier formula that is so thick and sticky. And that makes both coating and building my lashes with this mascara really difficult. After wiping off the brush for my right eye, I could not get anything to coat. It looked like I had barely any mascara on, so I had to redunk it to try to get more product, but then that made the sides look really uneven. So no surprise, the length is not only not good, but also super inconsistent. Volume, I honestly don't even know how to rate because the clumping is so bad. So for separation, I would say it's literally awful. Like, this is just so clumpy. And if you thought this couldn't get any worse after my application, look at the wear footage. It looks terrible. For removal, it does mostly tube off. There was a little bit of smearing, nothing major, but I honestly could not care less how this removes because I hate the way it looks from the second I apply it to the end of the day. Awful. Can't recommend it any less. 18th is the Milani highly rated Lash Extensions Tubing Mascara. This has the same exact tapered wand as the Blinc mascara, but it's definitely a lot stiffer. I'll show you. Like that. That is so much better. However, the improvements in the wand didn't really matter because the formula is such an issue. It's very wet. It's the kind of formula that immediately starts to transfer if you blink while you're applying it. And it's thick, but it doesn't layer well. So it's not the kind of mascara that's ever really going to feel super heavy because you can't get it layered up enough to do that. It's just a strange formula that's difficult for me to describe, but I feel like the results speak for themselves. Length is average. Some of my lashes look nice and long, but it's super inconsistent. And I also think that volume is hard for me to rate because of the clumping and inconsistency. Separation is not good. There are a lot of areas where my lashes are just clumped together, but it doesn't look as clumpy as some others might because it's not really thick on the lashes. I just think this overall look is bad. It just does not look good. And the wear, what is going on? It looks even worse, which, okay, yes, you'd kind of expect, but it just makes this mascara look especially terrible. It does fully tube off while removing it, but that is pretty much the only redeeming quality this mascara has. Number 17 is the Tarte XL mascara. Same kind of tapered wand here, but the bristles are shorter and there's more of them, so it's more densely packed. The formula leans both wet and thick, so it's definitely one that starts to feel a bit heavy when layered, and it does definitely layer better than something like the Milani mascara, but it's not necessarily one that you want to layer with because I feel like it just starts to not look so great when you do that. The length is good, and yes, there's a ton of volume, but the separation is not good. So I think this just looks kind of short and clumpy. The day that I captured wear footage of this, I was wearing a concealer that I realized ended up making any mascara that I paired with it smudge. And if you're curious, it's actually the new Milk concealer. No matter what kind of mascara I used, tubing, non-tubing, they all smudged by the end of the day. So that's not normally a wear issue that I have with this mascara, although I do think it's kind of funny because they say like no smudging no matter what. Sometimes a bad concealer can just mess up any mascara. So I think it actually stays in place pretty well, but it's just that I don't like the way it looks. So I'm like, ugh, by the end of the day, no thank you. And it also does fully come off in little tubes. So I would definitely pass on the Tarte XL, especially because I think that the original Tarte mascara is significantly better, but I'm getting ahead of myself and we'll get to that later. Number 17 is the KVD full sleeve tubing mascara. I hate this wand. I just don't understand the purpose of a design like this that gets like bulbous and thick at the end. The wand is flexible, but not too flexible. But these bristles are just, they're not good. Nothing about this does anything to enhance the application of this mascara. And it's a mascara that definitely needs a wand to enhance its application because the formula is kind of tough. It's not too heavy. I would say it's kind of somewhere in between being a thin and thick formula, but it's very, very wet. So because of that, it starts to clump as you layer, especially because the wand doesn't do anything to help to prevent that. So I actually had to go in and separate these with my little tweezers. Otherwise it was just way too clumpy. The length is really good in some places, but again is too inconsistent for me to give it a great rating. The volume I would say is good, but the separation again is definitely below average. So the overall look is just not for me. I think it looks a little bit spiky, clumpy, and too straight. Like there's zero curl going on here. And this doesn't even wear well. It actually flakes quite a bit on me with a full day of wear. And this is what it looked like when removing it. Lots of smudging. Lots and lots of smudging. So KVD full sleeve is not something I could ever recommend. Number 15 is Essence Bye Bye Panda Eyes. This has a very straight, fluffy wand with nylon bristles, and the formula is dry and very thin, so layering it doesn't really add much volume. So while separation is definitely better than a lot of the others that I just talked about, both the length and volume are pretty average for me. Compared to all of the rest, I do think that the overall look is definitely just a bit prettier because it's more curled and fluffy, so even though it's not the most amazing in terms of length or volume, it's like, okay, we're getting better. But the wear is so bad. So bad. It does fully remove in tubes, so no issues there, but because of the wear, I just could not rate this any higher. Number 14 is the LA Girl Volumatic Full-On Volumizing Lash Lifting Mascara. I absolutely hate this wand. It's too pokey, it's too bulky, and it's too flimsy. The formula is wet, but it leans thin, so it doesn't end up feeling too heavy on the lash. The length is good, the volume is good, but the separation is average. It's one that, again, has some nicely separated areas, but is pretty inconsistent because there are others that are quite clumpy. So compared to my favorites in this video, I would say that the overall look is not bad, but not great. However, it looks gross by the end of the day. Like, it just looks spidery and not doing my lashes any favors. Plus, it not only does not fully tube off, it smudges and it burns the heck out of my eyes. So I will never use this ever again. It was a huge fail for me. I obviously don't know if this is going to burn all of your eyes watching this video, but I had to let you know because ow. Number 13 is the Judy Doll Curling Iron Mascara. This wand is one that you may have seen on social media because it is so unique. I, for one, hate it. It's completely metal and there are no bristles. And I know that I definitely have a unique mascara application technique and not everybody blinks when they apply their mascara, but that is a non-negotiable for me to get the result that I want. And with that technique, I got so many fibers in my eyes while applying this because there's no bristles. And it's a bummer because the formula itself is actually nice. It's not too dry and not too wet, it's not too thin and not too thick. Despite the no bristles, I was actually able to get good length and good volume, but the separation is just not so great. Overall, it's definitely just too clumpy for me, which is a bummer because the curl is actually really pretty. It has nice lift for sure. This one majorly fades on me by the end of the day, and I know it's supposed to be a tubing mascara with film technology, but I cannot get this to remove on me with just warm water, I need makeup remover. So this one was just definitely not for me, but I know that a lot of people really love it, so maybe it's one that you still want to try out because it's a unique experience, that's for sure. Number 12 is the Ulta New Heights Lifting Mascara. This has a tapered wand that is teeny tiny. Like for point of comparison, I'll put it next to Milani, which has that standard tapered wand. Ulta is on top. I do really like that it allows for more precision on my inner corner lashes, but I feel like it just takes longer to use because of how small it is. The formula leans dry, but it's not too dry, and it's also not too thin and not too thick. So it's definitely one of the better formulas out of everything I've talked about so far. And initially, I think that the length is great, the volume is great, and the separation is great too. So pretty. It's bolder without being too much. It has nice curl, but the wear is not good at all. It makes my lashes look so short by the end of the day. And for whatever reason, when I try to remove this, it does not come off in tubes at all. It just smudges everywhere and I have to use a towel to remove it. So this had a lot of potential. It looked so nice at first. It's just not one that stands the test of time, you know? Number 11 is the L'Oreal Beauty Tubes, right? No. Well, kinda. The L'Oreal Double Extend Beauty Tubes Mascara. This is actually double-ended, so it comes with a primer on one side and then the mascara on the other. And the wand is really straight with long nylon bristles. To make this a fair comparison, I did not use the primer when applying this. I know that it comes with it, so now I'm like, are people gonna get mad at me that I didn't do that? But it feels like an unfair comparison because like, obviously a mascara is gonna look better if you have a primer with it. And I really wanted to just see how the mascara performed by itself. The formula is not too dry and not too wet, but thin. So I wasn't really able to layer it up a ton, and you'll definitely see that in just the overall look. It's one that is more natural for sure. It has, I would say like average to good length depending on the lash. Some are definitely pretty short. The volume is good and the separation is good though. So again, I think that this is pretty for a more natural option. It's soft, it has that wispy effect. Like if this gave me amazing length, I would be obsessed with this. And the wear is fine. I did have some flakes, but nothing major. And there was some fading, but again, it was nothing major. And this one fully removes in tubes. So while this is not one that I'm going to continue reaching for, I could definitely see some of you really enjoying it because of that more natural curled look. Number 10 is the Merit Clean Lash Lengthening and Tubing Mascara. The wand is just a basic straight wand with nylon bristles. And the formula is one that is not too dry and not too wet, but very thin. So I did have to layer this up significantly more than the others to get it to look how I would want it to. Length is average to good, again, depending on the lash. Volume, I think, is good. It's definitely one that is like fluffier and has more of that false lash effect. Separation, I would say, is average to good. Some areas are too clumped, but that left eye looks amazing. This is another where I'm like, if the separation was better, if the length was consistent, I would be obsessed. Where I would say is okay, it definitely does fade, but it's not as bad as some of the others we've seen. Removal is an issue though. Not only does it not tube off and ends up smudging, but it stings my eyes as well. If it doesn't end up stinging your eyes, I didn't think that removal was difficult, despite the fact that it didn't come off in tubes. It's just one that I'm not gonna use again, given the stinging of the eyeballs. Number 9 is the newest launch. I was so excited when I saw that this was launching because this is just a thing that has happened with every single showdown I've come out with. Basically, right after I either finish filming or upload the video, there is a brand new product in that product category that's announced. This time, this was announced before I finished filming, so I was able to pick it up and try it. It's the Milk Kush High Roll Mascara. This has that classic tapered wand with short plastic bristles, and it's definitely not as stiff as I would like it to be. The formula is not too thin and not too thick, and it leans dry, which kind of surprised me looking back at my notes, given how it looks at the end, because it kind of looks like it's a wetter, thicker mascara that I have on. The length is good, but the volume is a lot, and I feel like it's too much for me personally, given the fact that I don't have more length. And especially because I feel like separation is just kind of average. Like it's just a clumpier, thicker looking mascara. And my lashes look way too straight. Like I don't get any curl with this. The wear is pretty good though, and removal is easy. It comes off fully in tubes. So this may be one that you're interested in if you like a bolder lash look like this. It's just not for me. Number 8 is the Clinique Lash Power Long Wearing Mascara. This has a super little skinny wand with nylon bristles. And the formula is wet, but the thickness is just right. It's not too thin and it's not too thick. I think the length is great and the volume is good, but the separation is average. It falls flat for me. It just is a little too clumpy, which is a bummer because some areas are really pretty. They're long, they're curled, but other areas just look too clumpy. This one does definitely fade quite a bit on me by the end of the day compared to how it looked when I first applied it, but I think it still looks nice at the end of the day. I almost kind of like it better. Like some of that intensity has worn off. And this one does take a bit more effort to remove, but it does fully come off in tubes. So it's not bad, but it does not make the top 5 for me. Number 7 is the Caliray Come Hell or High Water Clean Mascara. This has a standard straight wand with synthetic bristles, and the formula is wet, but again, not too thin and not too thick. I would say that the length is good, the volume is great, and the separation is good. Overall, I think this looks really pretty. I love the curl with it, but the wear is just not as good as I want it to be. Like by the end of the day, I'm looking especially on the lashes on my right eye, they look pretty short in some areas. And this one also took a little bit more effort to remove, but I didn't think it was bad at all, and it did fully come off in tubes. So this is one that I feel like I thought was gonna rank higher until I actually took screenshots of all of the footage and put everything side by side and then realized, like, you know what? There are definitely others that are better, and again, not quite top 5 material. Number 6 is the e.l.f. Lash Extender Mascara, and I feel like this one looks unassuming because it has that same tapered wand, but it feels so pokey. I don't understand what it is about this that differs so much from the rest, but something about the actual bristles themselves makes this feel really pokey and kind of uncomfortable to apply. The formula is just right. It's not too thin and not too thick. It's not too dry and not too wet, and it layers really well. The length is great and the volume is good, but I would say where this falls flat is with separation. I think I get like average to good separation. It's one that I thought separated a lot better until I looked at the footage and was like, oh, that's clumpier than I thought. The wear is pretty good, and this fully removes in tubes. So if you're looking for the tubing mascara in this video that performs well and is the most affordable, this is gonna be the one for you. But we have a top 5 to break into, and that is starting off with number 5, the Heimish, what are you? Dollism, is it Dalism or Dollism? Don't know. Smudge Stop Mascara. This has a pretty curved wand with long nylon bristles and a very wet formula that leans thick but isn't too thick. The length is amazing and the volume is amazing as well, but separation I would say is average. It definitely is just a little bit clumpy all over, which I feel doesn't look as offensive in this case because you have more length and it has really pretty curl, but you know what this looks like to me? It looks like I had the most amazing lash day ever, but then I cried and some of my lashes stuck together. It's giving that. Oh, but I think it's still good. Like, I think this looks pretty. Wear is pretty good. I would say it fades, but there are no major issues. And while removal for this is not as quick and easy as some others, it still fully comes off in tubes, and I didn't have any major issues with it. So this is definitely a really solid tubing mascara and one of the best in this video, but not good enough to be in the top 4. In 4th place is a mascara that I actually included in my high-end mascara showdown. I did not realize it was a tubing mascara until after I filmed that, so I of course wanted to include it in this since it's actually tubing. It's the Hourglass Unlocked Instant Extensions Mascara, and once I realized it was in fact tubing, I was like, okay, we'll save it for this one. Another tapered wand, but the bristles are a bit thinner and longer. The formula is not too thin, not too thick, not too dry, and not too wet, but there is something about it that's a little bit sticky. It's not something that bothers me at all, but I do just like to call random things like that out in case it would happen to bother you. The length is amazing. The volume, I actually rated higher when I was comparing it to all of these mascaras in this video. I said that I thought it was really good, but in the notes that I had for my high-end mascara showdown, I actually gave it an average rating. So take that for what you will. And separation here, I think is like average to good. It could definitely be better, and that is for sure the biggest reason why this doesn't get a higher rating. For wear, I think that it does hold up really well, and it's super easy to remove. It fully comes off in tubes. So a great tubing mascara now that I know it's actually tubing. Cause like in my defense, it doesn't say that anywhere on the label, okay? Cut me some slack. In 3rd place, we have the tubing mascara of all tubing mascaras. I feel like this is what everyone thinks of when you say tubing mascara. It is the Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. This has a tapered wand with bristles that are a bit too short and chunky. Like, I want them to be longer, please. Because the formula leans thick and is very wet, so it's one that could definitely benefit from having bristles that do a good job at separating. Despite that, I think that the length is amazing and the volume is amazing, but the separation is average to good. I think it looks a little bit spidery, a little bit clumpy, but the length and curl are so good. So I understand why so many people love this mascara, because you can't deny those two things. I didn't have any major issues with wear, but in looking at the footage, it definitely did fade more than I was hoping. However, the removal for this is so easy. It fully comes off in tubes, definitely one of the easiest to remove. So I definitely understand the hype behind this mascara. I think it is a really good one. In second place, we have the Beaubble and Rudi Chocolate Dripped Tubing Mascara. Cutest name and packaging for a mascara, by the way. It's like a chocolate covered strawberry. At least I think that's what they were going for. And if so, it's really cute. This has a really interesting wand. It's pretty thick and again, kind of like bulbous, but on the opposite end of the KVD one. So I actually like it in this case. And then it tapers and gets narrower towards the center, and it has nylon bristles. This one actually leans a little bit drier and a little bit thinner than some of the others that are like very wet or very thick, but it's not too much of either of those things. So I wouldn't say it's like a thin, dry mascara by any means, just compared to the rest for point of comparison. Okay. It does dry down pretty fast, so just make sure to work with it quickly if you want to add layers. Otherwise, it can be kind of hard to layer up, but if you work fast, then it layers great. The length is amazing, the volume is great, and the separation is good. It could definitely be better, but I'm honestly surprised by how separated this looks given the wand, because obviously it's a bit bulkier and it has the nylon bristles. Those kinds of wands don't always separate the best. This somehow does. It does fade, but I don't have any major issues with wear, and when removing this, I do get some minor smudging, but it mostly removes in tubes completely, so one that I really have no issues removing. So congratulations to Rudi for this collaboration with Beaubble. I think it's an amazing mascara, and it is one of the only mascaras I've tried that claims to be brown that actually is brown. We have made it to first place. The #1 spot in this tubing mascara showdown goes to the Tarte Tartelette Tubing Mascara. I told you guys this was way better than the XL. That honestly surprised me so much because I don't know, I feel like you see XL, it's like, okay, it's gonna be even better. No. This has a tapered wand with bristles that I think are too short. Like, I don't understand why I end up loving this one so much compared to the rest. It obviously speaks to the formula because this has the same wand as a lot of these other ones with shorter bristles than I typically prefer, but oh my God, is this amazing. This is a thicker formula that is not too dry and not too wet, and it layers so well. Length's amazing, volume's amazing, and separation is amazing. The wear could definitely be better, of course. I mean, wear for all of these could be better, but I think comparatively it holds up really well. Removal for this one might be a deal breaker for some of you because it like partially tubes, mostly smears off, but it still comes off super easily. So maybe that won't be a deal breaker, but I know some people really like the actual little tubes that come off with the tubing mascara. So if that is something that is a must for you, then this would be one that you'd want to skip. But like, also don't skip it because it's amazing. Look at it. This is without a doubt the best tubing mascara I have ever tried. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on these mascaras in the comments below. If you had the same experience as me, a totally different one, because that can happen. If you are interested in picking up any of the mascaras included in this video, everything's going to be listed and linked in order of mention in my description box below. So those will be easy for you to find. What else? Let me know what categories you would like me to do showdowns on next. I always have a long list, but I'm constantly updating it depending on what I feel like people are really interested in. So who knows, what you ask for could just be the very next showdown. And if you'd like to see more showdowns and videos like this from me in the future, please don't forget to give this a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much for your support in doing those things. It truly means the world. Thank you for watching my videos. I love the freaking heck out of you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for my next one because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days. All I need is 2 seconds.
So should I be quiet then?
No, you don't have to. There won't be audio in this, but Emily will be editing it, so watch your mouth. What?
Ew.
Don't say ew!
You look like a raccoon. Does it usually come off like that?
This is not tubing. Wow, see, this is why I do the video.
Look forward. Don't look back. Don't scare me. You're still pretty.